We made it. Season 4. I'm so excited. Yeah. What a stein. Welcome to the HolmFront. We have made it to the end of July, and to
We
the
made it to
last
the end.
the last bit of Stranger Things that we have for now until season 5, which from
Well,
what I
not
understand,
entirely. We'll have a little something this weekend.
we will have something this weekend. Yep.
Talking about
as
our speculations for season
July
5.
has just been Stranger Things month.
Yep.
Maybe we'll just do that every year. We'll just reevaluate and
Stranger
just
Things.
redo all the seasons every July.
I'm fine with that. I've been having so much fun going through it. And,
Oh, yeah.
we do our usual stuff, but also it's been nice to kind of break the mold a little bit and just chat things we enjoy up. Just
Yeah.
talk it up and be like, that was so great.
It's also nice to have some kind of through line because when you're just on one subject, doing Stranger Things like over and over, but like building it and doing each season differently, it's been fun because you can keep it all in your head.
Yeah.
And doing it in this sequence. So 2 thumbs up. I would definitely do this again. We'll probably do it with other series. We'll see. But Stranger Things, we have made it to season 4. And this is your first time through it, correct?
Yeah, I skipped
Okay.
out on it before because I was kind of put off by seasons 2 and 3.
Right.
But I've had a change of heart on those seasons.
Yep.
They're very good. And I went into 4 with an open mind, and I think with the right filters, I felt like I just understood what the Duffer Brothers were doing much better. And so that helped my appreciation. And season 4 is awesome. I loved it. It was killer good. It's 5 out of 5. Do you like it better than season 1?
Ooh.
Let's table that question. We'll revisit that at the end of this
I'll have to
conversation.
think on that. That's a tough one. Good.
I think the fact that it's not an immediate answer goes to show just how great it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes you stop and think.
Really give that one some thought. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't exist without season 1, but at the same time, it really raised the bar. So let's start on that then. Okay, so you had season 1 and 2. We've gone through this CR series on Stranger Things, but 1 and 2 kind of blended together. 3 had some growing pains. 4 found its footing and it took off running. I really don't have much in the way of critique of this season in general, and it was just like it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole thing. Like this was the definition of not only binge watching but cliffhanger. So I was watching when it came out. The minute it came out, I was like on it. I was there. And it did it in separate parts, which we had discussed during the season 5 trailer because it's doing the same thing with season 5.
Okay, yes.
So it released in a batch. I forgot how many episodes it was, but then it released the second batch and the next, it was a couple months later or something like that. So, and that was when you got the really long episodes at the end there.
Yeah.
But we had to wait for them. It was rough. So I was watching, and then you got to that end, and I binge watched the crap out of this, and I was like, man, I'm going to have to wait now? And it just made me like, well, you know what? I'll just go watch seasons 1 through 3 again then while I wait. So I did. Yeah, so I love Stranger Things, if you couldn't tell. I think the show is phenomenal.
And it's nice to be live and just saying, I loved this. It was so great.
So good.
Because we usually torture ourselves for your entertainment. But this was just us enjoying
your entertainment through and through. And I hope that you enjoy the videos we do on it. Okay, so like I said, this hits ground running.
So you define this one as like the culmination, right?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
On so many different levels. It just took all those seasons and everything that was great about them and just puts them all into one. And then it builds even further. So we were talking about some of the inspirations of these other seasons. We were talking about what makes Stranger Things Stranger Things. This one was like, hey, we're going to put all that in there, and then we're going to get into all that other stuff in the 80s that we haven't touched yet. So season 3 really harped on a lot of the horror elements. This one jumped into the horror, but added in all the like slasher films of the time, which was so much fun. So great. And I think that was what you said in the previous episode was that I had mentioned that these were the things that kind of inspired 4. So you went into it with that filter and it was like, yeah, okay, I see what they were doing here. See our previous mini episode on all the things that we thought inspired Stranger Things that are in there. Okay, so I think we should start with a clip. So
Yes.
with that, I'll set it up a little bit.
Okay.
What we've noticed with Stranger Things in each of their first episodes is that they do it subtly, they do it really well, but they do this roadmap thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, here's what's going to happen in the season, and we're going to disguise it so it just looks like part of their everyday lives.
Yeah.
But it's going to mirror exactly what you're going to see through the season. So season 1 is an excellent example. It's them playing D&D. They run into the Demogorgon. Will gets captured, and then shortly thereafter, he gets captured.
Yes.
And
In real life.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's Stranger Things life, but whatever. So this one does the exact same thing. So it's like poetry, so that they rhyme. They they do something
Nice.
similar. They show that Lucas has now become a basketball star. So he's playing the game, and he has to
Well,
abandon.
he's on the bench, but he's on the team.
But he's on the team. He's got to be present. And then he abandons the Dungeons and Dragons session, which is now official. They've actually started a club. It's called the Hellfire Club. So the other members have to go and find a replacement. Excluding Will, he is not there because he's in California.
Yeah, he moved away.
So Dustin and Mike have to find a replacement for Lucas, and they choose Lucas's little sister. So they jump in. The new character Eddie, he explains that the character Vecna is still alive. They have to go up against him. He's really hard to kill.
Mm-hmm.
And they all say, "We're gonna go to the death." And then they parallel the Dungeons and Dragons game with the basketball game. And so you're watching them side by side. They get to a point where Vecna's kicking the poop out of these characters. And so they call a timeout, and then same thing in the basketball game, they call a timeout, and this is where the clip starts. Do you have anything else to add before?
No,
we
I
jump
think you
into
summarized it perfectly.
Okay.
So go for it.
It or not, but no.
Yeah, I like that about his character too, because he's starting to come across as very self-absorbed, but he's more like he's just kind of very narrow-minded.
Yes.
So like when he sees it happen in a tangible way, hey, Lucas just scored the point. Okay, well he won us the game, so there
Right.
goes the credit.
Right.
But it's like unless he sees it happen, it won't happen. So it's on my shoulders.
Right. Well, he's the leader, and he takes it very seriously.
Yes.
So we get introduced to a couple of characters here. Obviously, Eddie is one of them. This basketball player, I can't remember his name for some reason.
Yeah, I keep forgetting his name.
It doesn't stick with me. Just generic kid.
He's
on
not
the
that
team.
important to the show, but yeah, he is interesting.
He's more of an obstacle that kind of just shows up constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, it sets up this roadmap. It says this is kind of how the show's going to go. You may not realize this yet, but by the time you've gotten to season 4, you probably are aware of some of their tactics, and I think this is one of them. So that's, like I said, that's my theory. I think that season 4 is that first shot. 11 jumps in, but it's still a failure. There's a consequence that comes to that victory.
And then they'll play their hand a second time in season 5,
and there's
then
the
win.
crit hit. Yeah,
I see. Yeah, I suppose
that's
that
my
makes
theory.
sense.
We'll see. But
I was thinking like as a roadmap for this particular season, because you see like Lucas set up as, he gets the popularity that he asked for. So they just straight up give it to their character and say, yeah, you can have it. And then, it gets poisoned as the season goes on, because it doesn't come with the things that he thought it came with.
Sure.
And it's sort of a parallel with Steve, because Steve had that popularity initially, and then he sees that that's really meaningless. And also too, I think this also affects the basketball player character, because he's like in the spotlight and he's like making these speeches at the beginning where he's just like, Hawkins, and everything is just about winning the stupid game or whatever. And like even later on,
we had a rough year. People have died. There's fires and stuff, but is that going to affect how you think any of those people that died would want us to lose this game, lose this championship? Like, who cares?
Yeah,
it's a high school basketball. Like, what?
It's like leveraging this awful tragedy to like hype everybody up for this stupid game.
But he pays that off later, and it's fun.
Yeah. Well, even with him too, because I like how he kind of has this moment later where he says, he's like, well, no, Chrissy would never have gone to Eddie for drugs.
Right.
Like, that wouldn't have happened. She would have come to me. And it's like, yeah, because everything has to do with you, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah, everything has to be filtered
like
in through him.
Self-absorbed, but not quite. He's an interesting character. But yeah, he added definitely to the world of Hawkins and Stranger Things, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so basic setup of the show. Fantastic. Follows the lines of Stranger Things as it's been going so far. So, swing and a hit.
one
Bada
other
bing.
symbol in there, though, too, that I want to get into now because I don't know if it'll come up naturally otherwise, is the idea that throughout this season, they start to get, like, he's the one who propagates the fear
Mhm.
of, like, this D&D players, they're just like,
Right. They're cultists.
They're cultists.
They're Satan worshippers, basically. We got to find them, track them down.
We got to get our pitchforks out.
Yeah, exactly.
And get these guys. And so they establish what Hellfire is for the viewer, but then like how the rest of Hawkins really just watches the basketball game, right?
Right.
So they don't see. And you guys said an excellent point before. You were talking about how, it's like this depiction of like America at the time of just like how they viewed D&D when that was rising. It was, it's satanic, it's horrible or whatever.
Then you play it once, you're like, what?
Not really.
Not quite. It's not right.
It's like we just totally misunderstood
Right.
the game and the people who play it. And that's exactly what so many of the other characters do, because now the main cast is trying to fend off the upside down world. And throughout that process, it's becoming more and more apparent to other people that it exists.
Or that it's
there's a
bleeding
straight
over,
up body count in this one.
Right.
And usually it's like one, maybe two victims. One usually comes in either at the end or the beginning, something like that.
Or goes missing or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, but this one is just like boom, boom, boom. Like 3 episodes in, and it's like there's a death every episode, and you're like, like they're literally coming after everybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was also like, it added a lot of gravitas to like some of these subjects, both like within themselves, but with also in the historical context as well.
Yeah, and it was interesting the way that they played on it in order to feed into the narrative of the show, because that is an actual fear that was existent. It still kind of is in certain communities for Dungeons and Dragons, and then like I was part of the homeschool community, and everybody had a thought about Harry Potter was the big one.
Pokemon for me, they were just like,
Pokemon.
it's
Demonic,
monsters, demonic.
What? Pokemon? Like what? Same thing. They're like, yeah, like J.K. Rowling's an actual witch, and there's real spells in that
IRL.
book. It was like, did you guys read the book? Like, no, what? Yeah, you could maybe say it's dark.
Botched Latin.
Yeah,
just relax.
Barely. It's like it's like faux Rowling Latin is what it is. Anyway, yeah, it was just like it's one of those things where, like, I'm not an advocate necessarily of just exploring everything to see if it's actually evil or whatever, but
sure,
sometimes maybe come from like if you're gonna make that statement, maybe understand what you're talking about before you do.
Maybe take a minute.
Right. Yeah. Maybe just like read a book about it first, and then be like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, so that was like pervasive during that time because it was I don't exactly know the historical context as to what started it. We did an episode on the Deal with the Devil narrative mythology. And that was one of those things where I did actually look into it a little bit. And it was the time of the week where men were supposed to be going to church, and instead they were going to these, like, essentially nightclubs. And so they associated it with demonic activity because they're like, oh, that's the devil's music, because they were trying to get them to come back to church. And so it just developed into this thing. Yeah.
Showing up to the right club.
Exactly. So it must have like developed somehow similar to that, whereas like somebody had an experience with Dungeons and Dragons, or maybe they thought it was similar to like a Ouija board or something, and they're like, it's of the devil. Anyway, so they play with it.
Yeah.
And it plays in the narrative expertly. It's great.
Well, you also were saying, I'm stealing all your points today, apparently. We have like other questions we're going to get to, and we're just going to shoot the breeze because we've not had a chance to talk about this yet. But I'm just kind of still marveling over some of the things you said earlier.
Oh, thanks.
And like you said that, or what you wondered if maybe they were using that basketball player as like a televangelist insert.
Oh, yes.
And as like symbolically, because it would make sense because he does leverage the Bible against the Hawkins community.
He comes in and quotes Romans or something.
Yeah,
he's like,
I think of this verse, so that's why we got to go and take
out the Hellfire Club because they're a cult. But it's interesting because stuff is happening, and it's fascinating to see how people, when they can't explain something, they will offer explanations that best suit the situation, right?
Right.
So during that time, when they had that Dungeons and Dragons scare, we'll call it, these things were happening, and they're like, well, there's a club that plays Dungeons and Dragons, and I've heard this stuff about Dungeons and Dragons, so perhaps they are connected. Like, perhaps they're what make these people die in these horrific ways.
Correlation is always causation.
That's exactly that is pure logic right there. So, but it gets the town into a hype, and that's the thing is mob mentality is always worse than singular mentality. So, like
Mhm.
a single person using logic and kind of working through a situation is probably a lot more effective than everybody coming together and allowing the worst of fears to come to life.
Yeah.
But he plays on that because he has a personal investment in the situation. His girlfriend has died,
Mhm.
and she was with someone he distrusts, and he can't accept the truth that she might have been there for drugs, and therefore he's going to attribute the most likely scenario in his mind, and he's going to get everybody riled up in order to jump on his cause because that's the way he can most effectively reach the conclusion that he wants. And
Yes.
in his mind,
Yeah.
this conclusion is just killing this kid
Right.
who may or may not have anything to do with it, but it doesn't matter to him because he's emotionally invested. So
Yeah, just Eddie must die.
Eddie must die.
He's the leader of the Hellfire Club, so he must die.
That's it. So let's jump into the questions we have for one another.
Okay.
So you initially, let's just jump back and forth. I think.
Yeah,
Just
back and forth.
So I will do my first.
Okay.
You initially were apprehensive about watching season 4, but based on your presuppositions or your experiences with season 2 and 3 the first time, what won you over in season 4 specifically? Because we've already talked about 2 and 3, but what won you over in season 4? Like, what was the thing that really, really did it for you?
Well, it's like a combination of things. I was about to say a bunch of teenagers get killed, but that sounds terrible.
After we just talked about the Dungeons and Dragons things. Okay, go ahead.
Well, it's more like so some teenagers get hunted down in the beginning, a la slasher style. It's like Freddy Krueger coming after him, basically. I mean, it's not quite in a dream, but like he puts them in a trance state and then kills them in their mind, and then they die in real life in this horrific way. So okay, what was interesting about that though is it just came out with some real teeth. It was just like, we're gonna start killing people. It was like, whoa.
It set the stakes right away.
Yeah, because like the Stranger Things has a history of killing off characters that we love, but they're usually very reluctant to do that with like the main cast. They're kind of like, oh, I don't know, want to touch that. And in this one, I was on like just hot water on multiple occasions where I was like, oh snap, this character legitimately could die now. Oh no, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I was very invested in the characters for sure. So I think they established that really well. Of just like, nope, there's a villain in this season, and he's very dangerous. Like, and so I think they earned that villain. I think the actor who played him was awesome.
Oh yeah,
he did such a great. I was reading up too. I don't think they did anything to alter his voice when he's like in the monster form.
They probably made it a little echoey or whatever, and that's about it.
They might have done that, yeah. But like you can like see him online, like just doing the voice. I was like, what the crap?
Wow,
so
that's
he's
cool.
just
okay.
Yeah, that's some serious commitment just to get in all that makeup and everything, and then do the voice and then act on top of everything. So he really brought it. I thought he was great. Did we say the full spoilers, by the way?
Here we are, full spoilers.
Okay, full spoilers, because I'm gonna be getting into some other stuff. So that was a big one that won me over initially, but the latter half I think also really delivered. I really loved the stuff that happened with Elle. I loved her arc. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending was interesting. I don't know if I was quite. I do want to talk to you about this because I'm curious to hear what your thoughts, because it seemed like you were like, oh, the ending was like amazing and like Vecna's plan was so interesting. So that's going to be my question to you, because it's not that I didn't think it was interesting, but it felt like he was just like great villain status. He was like classic villain from like an 80s style villain, like a Darth Vader character or something like that. So he didn't feel like he was bringing anything all that new, but I didn't feel like he needed to either. I felt like he was plenty threatening. He put his money where his mouth was, and then he was the rest was just like fitting for the story that it was telling. But it wasn't like his motivation was like, whoa, I never thought of it that way. It was just kind of like, oh, I feel like I've seen this motivation in a villain before. So tell me a little bit about Vecna, assuming I've answered your question adequately.
I think you have.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So you're asking what I liked about him?
Yeah, like what made Vecna so compelling?
Well, okay. So for one, I liked that he had kind of this duality of what he was before and then what he became.
Okay.
So there's that. I also liked how you recontextualized the rest of the seasons as to what was happening.
Oh.
And it kind of added some depth to that. Because, you don't really know anything about the Mind Flayer. You don't really know anything about the Demogorgon. but those are things that are tangible, right? But
Mhm.
now that you've put a mind behind them and a motivation,
Yeah.
it added a little bit more to the other seasons, just indirectly. But the other thing I liked is that they they kind of went away from just opening the gates, and now Vecna's doing it himself. And I thought the
Mm.
way that they did that was really interesting because it played into multiple different things. For one, it was playing on the inspirations that made him what he was, right? Because he's attacking people in their minds. He's someone that's from the upside down, attacking people in the real world. So like it had that slasher feel to it, that Freddy Krueger feel to it,
Mhm.
but it was also accomplishing something narratively. So he was opening gates through trauma. And then the trauma
Yeah.
was something that's shared through all the characters that you've experienced with from seasons 1 to 3 already. So it just kind of tied everything up into a really nice bow. But then it also had something personally that affected Elle, which I also really liked because
Okay.
she has a personal investment in it. Even though she doesn't know it at first, she finds that out later, and then it gives more depth to her character because she has the trauma of what caused it in the first place, but then she remembers everything and probably has some kind of blame for herself for a lot of what is going on now because she's like, well, I kind of created him ish
Yeah. Yeah.
indirectly, but
Yeah.
also, Papa and all that kind of stuff, which we'll get into later. But
Hmm.
yeah, so I mean, his like motivations aren't super they're not like jaw dropping. Like it
I'll
wasn't
destroy the world and it'll be beautiful.
exactly. Yeah, it's pretty generic,
I'm
but
like,
I
all
mean,
right.
but based on the things that they're trying to do with Stranger Things, that is something that would exist in that universe.
I see.
So he fit perfectly within the puzzle they had created, and then, he just filled all these boxes that were they were so fun.
Yeah, like if you had like a villain audition,
Right.
he would have
That's the
checked
one.
most of the boxes. Yeah, I see that. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Satisfying that puzzle.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What did you not like about this season? Or is there
Um.
anything you didn't like?
Well, throw me your Vecna question if we could stay
Oh,
on
we'll
him
just
for a
stay there.
minute.
Okay. So what did
Yeah.
you think of him then?
Yeah, because I do want to comment on what you said about how he's like opening the gates through trauma. Because that's the other thing that I think really attracted me to this season is um, it wasn't just a symbol anymore for like there being trauma for these kids or whatever.
Right.
It's like now that trauma is being harnessed and wielded against them.
Right. Now it's important to the narrative.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it matters. So the fact that, and the part that, okay, so this is a big spoiler, but the part that got me the most in this season was when Vecna goes after Nancy.
Yeah.
Because it came out of nowhere, and as soon as it happened, I was like, "Oh, that's because of Barb." Gosh darn it, I forgot.
And they knew you did.
Exactly. They knew that we forgot, and I was like, "How's Nancy doing?" Because she's always doing fine, but now it's like too late. He's got her in his clutches.
Right.
Oh gosh, so that was great, and it was just this kind of larger picture about how many of these characters are really struggling with this stuff.
Sure.
And then it gives it this somber, harsh edge that the villain is wielding that against them. It's like that's awful,
Right.
especially because they're like teenagers. Like they're not, they're not equipped to handle this much emotional pain for so long. So I thought that was a really compelling element to him. It made him like really threatening and terrifying. I've not seen a lot of slasher films, but I feel like the motivations are not nearly.
I don't think they really give him.
Yeah, it's like I don't feel like there is. Is there like? Doesn't Jason Voorhees? He's just like a psycho who kills teenagers at a camp, right?
I haven't seen enough of them, so
Okay.
I could not answer that question. But I think most of them are just more concerned about making him scary rather than giving him a backstory. Because these are 80s films. These aren't made for the millennials like what they
I know
would be
there's
today.
like 10,000 sequels and they eventually start getting into backstory
Sure.
stuff, but it's like insane. He's like from space or something like that.
There is a space film. I don't know what they did with that one, but there is one that deals with him in space.
Okay, so I could just be wrong, and maybe I need to go watch slasher films to like understand like the deep intricacies of them. But I was under the impression they were more just like evil characters,
Yeah.
and they were targeting like a youthful person, which then makes it really scary because of like just the concept of like a youthful person not being like well equipped to deal with that. So it being like a great challenge that they have to overcome. But it's a horror film, so they're not gonna be able to overcome it.
Sure.
But in this case, it's like it's like deepened and enriched based on the fact that it's like, well, we're really invested in these characters
Yeah.
and it's for the long haul. It's a TV show. It's not just like a movie. So, we can't just have them dying left and right. But at the same time, like they were able to captivate that threat. But in terms of like Vecna himself, I really liked it when he was the orderly.
Yeah.
In his backstory, when he came on screen, I was like, who is this guy? This guy's like crazy creepy. And I love how I couldn't tell
Someone's sleepy
if
today. Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't tell if he was Elle's ally or if he was just manipulating her. And I thought that was intentional, that it's supposed to be confusing and you could take it either way, because I was like he's not wrong about Papa, but also like I just don't know enough about him why he would even be here
Sure.
to trust everything he's saying wholeheartedly. And then when he just goes crazy,
He's just murdering everybody.
yeah, and then it was like, oh, I got it. Okay, so you were mostly manipulation. I mean, it was all genuine though, because he was thinking, okay, you'll just join my side, right? And we'll just do this path together. And it was a nice like Darth Vader sort of arc that was, where it's like, okay, join us. But like Darth Vader did it because it was like the only way to save Luke's life, pretty much. It was just like, well, otherwise I have to kill him. And with this, it was more like, he was like, well, wouldn't she want to be a part of this? Because we're the strongest ones.
Yeah.
And
Well, she's also made from him.
what?
Yeah. That was what
Like a DNA sample?
I don't. He didn't explain it exactly, but he was like, "Yeah, I was the first one that actually had these powers, and then Brenner got me after I killed my family, and then he started using me to create more. So those were
Oh,
the
I did not
experiments that
catch
they were
that.
doing. So then Elle's mom tried to come and save her, but Elle was the one where it like settled appropriately or whatever. So she was the strongest one. So he thought that she was worth saving.
Gotcha. I didn't catch that.
Yep.
How did I miss that?
I don't know.
Sorry, it was the first time watching.
Right.
And I binged it just like it was like injected.
Yeah, you didn't have the unfortunate benefit of having to wait for the rest of the season to arrive.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
But yeah, he was the one that was like the pure blood, and then
I see.
the rest were made from him somehow.
Huh, that's interesting. So she is like a successor or something. She can
Or
carry
his
the mantle.
child. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So what is that referencing now? I know
Who knows?
it's referencing
We'll have to
something.
figure that out.
Okay. So do you get a question now? Can I ask one? Or
Yes, yeah, because that was mine.
Okay.
What did you think of one on Vecna?
Okay. So assuming we're done talking about Vecna, who was awesome,
Right.
which character group engaged you the most? Like, who did you like following the most in this season?
That's a good. Gosh, that's a hard one because I will say I was probably least interactive with the Mike gang. Call it
Oh yeah, the his
Argyle
pothead.
and, yeah, and Jonathan.
Jonathan the pothead, just driving around through Arizona and whatnot.
Probably. Gosh, that's a hard question. I liked all of them, and I liked how they all converged, and they did enough. I think they just kind of undercut Jonathan and Mike so much that it was hard to keep up. I liked what was going on their side of the story. I just thought that there wasn't enough given to them personally.
I would agree with that.
They
100%.
weren't as engaging.
Yeah.
I really liked what they were doing with Max in this season. So
yeah.
probably that group. But I also
Mhm.
really liked following around Steve, Nancy, and
Robin.
So
Mhm.
probably between them two, but if I had to choose, it would probably be Max and the crew.
Gotcha.
Just because they did such a great job of giving her more of a dynamic character, the way that they were figuring her problems out as time was going.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'd probably choose them.
Yeah, Max's storyline was great. She really redeems herself as like a truly noble person by
Right.
the end. She makes like a tremendous sacrifice, which I thought was really interesting. That, like you said, it added so much depth to her character, and you get to see like the variance of the blame, and then the altered perception of people of you, Like, I like how some of it is like some of it's real interactions with characters, and then others are things that just Vecna uses against her. But either way, it's like there are narratives that kind of play out in your head
Hmm.
when you're in this heightened emotional state. So she's just struggling coping with the loss of Billy, and as that's being mixed in with these horror elements, the fact that she was like able to like reach a level of stability to like, no, I have to do this to like help the team and the
Sure.
greater good. Yeah, that made her really cool for sure.
Definitely. And that's not to say like Hopper's was good. Um, Joyce and Murray were okay, I
Murray.
guess. Yeah. I mean, it was fun, but that was definitely like the comic relief portion of it until they finally reach Hopper and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they all had really great value, and I think it was all really entertaining to watch. But yeah, probably Max and crew. And I understand that Steve was and Nancy and all them, they were all together, but then they split
They do
at the
split.
end.
Yeah.
So it's, depends on what part of the show I guess you're asking about. But
Well, and then there's that scene where Nancy and Robin team up for a bit, and then they go visit
mhm.
the guy in like the murderer character in the asylum.
And that was really interesting too.
It was. I also loved the subtle way in which they played up on holidays because it always releases around a holiday.
Yeah.
Like season 1 was around Christmas time,
Mhm.
season 2 was around Halloween, season 3 was 4th of July, and then season 4 was Easter. They
Oh.
don't actually go to Easter, but she's like, Robin's like, I feel like I'm wearing an Easter Sunday outfit. And I was like, she is. It's spring break. It is Easter.
I actually didn't catch that. That's good. That's funny.
Yeah, it was real subtle. It was subtle in that it wasn't like, oh, there's Easter Sunday we all have to deal with at some
Sure.
point. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, it's spring break. Here's
Huh.
an Easter outfit.
All right.
Yeah.
Good to know. Now I know. I didn't catch that.
Hmm.
Huh. Okay.
All right,
Is it
go
my
for
turn?
it. Yeah, go for it.
All right. So I'll just jump back. What did you not like anything? Is there something you didn't like in the show?
I feel like I did, but now I've since forgotten because they weren't like important enough. I'm on
They're
a hype train now.
Yeah. They were so insubstantial that it got drowned out.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I did feel like okay. So the season, I can try to resuscitate them a little bit. The season has some pretty long episodes.
Yes.
That didn't bother me. I don't mind long episodes, but I did feel like
They're probably over long. They didn't
Well-
justify their length.
well, no, I just didn't know that it felt like sometimes they were like, well, I'm going to make this episode 20 minutes longer because then I can get to the point where a character is like, almost going to die, or it'll be a more better cliffhanger, as opposed to being like, well, let's just hour by hour by hour and then find something reasonably good to break it off.
Okay.
But it's not a problem. It's not. It's just like I said, it didn't bother me. I could see some people being annoyed by that, but I don't know. I probably prefer it, to be honest. And the finale episode being the 2.5 hours, it's like, yeah, it's the finale episode, so I think you've earned that. That's fine. Honestly, if anything, I think that's like a cool format to follow. You've got to have the right material to justify it, as always.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I gave it a compliment through my critique. The one thing I will say though is like the last episode was maybe there was a lot of slow mo, and like
Oh,
I don't
gotcha.
dislike slow mo, but it was just like they're shooting Vecna and that's in slow mo, and then Hopper's fighting this thing and that's in slow mo with a sword, by the way, and then like this is
that.
slow mo, that's slow mo, and then his monologue is slow, and then Elle finally coming to her senses and attacking Vecna in full force. That was slow, or that took forever to come about because we needed Mike to say his thing. It just felt like there was a lot of things where I'm like,
Get on with it, kind of thing.
well, nothing could happen quickly. Like,
Oh,
like
gotcha.
the part that impacted me the most was when Nancy was threatened, but that wasn't slow mo. That was just like, oh, by the way,
Yep.
Nancy's gonna die now, and it was like, what? Nancy's gonna die?
No. What? No.
So I would, it's not a critique, but what I will say is like, I would encourage them to ease up on the slow mo, because like you've got good material here, and like when you can pull like, be like, oh, you didn't notice that, did you? When you can do that,
Yeah.
on us, then it's like, oh, sheesh. Now I'm on the edge of my seat. And it's like, if you slow it down, that's kind of this like, oh, let's enjoy. Kaboosh.
That was great, by the way.
That was cool, though.
Each moment individually definitely has some weight, but they did all of them like that.
Yes.
So I think it just kind of disseminated the weight a little bit too much. Okay. All right. So your turn. What do you got?
Okay. What was your favorite scene in this season?
Oh, man.
Thought this been an easy one.
It's yeah. I will say the first time I watched it, that first episode, when they separate and they both have their victories, is a really great moment because it just kind of starts the season
Yeah.
on a high note, and then it just drops you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really liked that. I gotta say though, I mean, for what it's worth, Eddie playing Metallica, man, so cool. When he jumps up on there and plays Master of Puppets, that was it. So probably that one.
That's a great scene.
But it's the season's just really self-indulgent with its nerdisms. Like you mentioned Hopper was fighting the Demogorgon. Fights it with a freaking Conan sword. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like they gave themselves the room to do that.
While he's wearing an American color palette.
Right, in
jacket.
Russia.
Yeah, in Russia.
And then you've got the kids, and they're all in the Rambo uniforms, and Nancy's just shooting the crap out of Vecna with a shotgun.
I love the uniforms.
And he's on
they
fire.
Straight up camo.
Right. And she's just like stepping forward and taking it to him. It was just,
Steve's got a Castlevania axe. I wanted him to throw it and have it do the arc in the air.
Yeah. So, but yeah, probably Eddie playing. What was yours? I'll just throw that one back.
Well, yeah. So that was absolutely the scene where the base where Elle's been training gets attacked.
Oh yes.
And then it's like this Star Wars assault.
They're all down the hallway. And
yeah, in the hallway. And then when they come out, then there's the helicopter. And then she's like freaking destroys a helicopter as like the sniper's trying to hit her. I was like, this is legit.
Yep.
I love how like fearless she was in that moment.
Yeah.
Because it was just like all emotional, all this stuff.
I love when
everybody trying to control me and then just like, I have control. It was great.
I love when they're like looking through the scope and like, where'd she go? And then she turns and she's like right there going after him. He's like, oh no. Ah!
Yeah, it's great. It's totally a James Cameron thing.
It was. And they definitely put the money into that scene. Like, going behind her with the ball of flame and stuff coming out.
Oh yeah,
it was like, man, you made sure that this scene really, really impacted everybody. It was trying to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your scene is a great one though. It's specifically because of how it compares with season 3. Because that's one of the annoying things about that season is that it ends where they contact Susie and she has to give them Plankett's constant or whatever.
Planck's constant, yeah.
Plankton's whatever.
Yep, plankton.
But
never mind.
The when they do that, she's like, we have to sing We Never Ending Story. And it was just like...
a little ham-fisted.
Yeah, it was like, this is the end of the world. Can we not, like, do this? And instead, she's like, well, you've got to appease me. So it was a scenario where it's like, okay, well, now you're making us really dislike this character, unless you're one of the people who just thought that was hilarious and fun. In the case of Stranger Things 4, though, when he's playing the song... it has a purpose. It's like, well, I'm trying to attract the bats to come after us. So, like, he's going to do it in an Eddie way.
Right.
We can't stop that. So I thought that was a so much more natural fit. It was like, you've got your nostalgia, but also, like, what else would they do? Like, why would they make it just random noise? It's like, he's got his guitar. He's going to play.
Right.
He's going to be Eddie.
He's going to play Metallica.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go with my last question then. I don't know if you have more than I do, but...
Sure.
Who's your favorite character and why?
So it took all the way up until the end of the season to get there, but it's Al. I do like 11 the best.
Okay, why is that? I felt like she was the most dynamic.
I felt so bad for her in this season.
Mm.
Like, I felt like it was really... I just really connected with how much she was struggling to connect with people in the real world. Because now she left the small town of Hawkins and they just thrust her out into good old California. And it's hard. It's hard for a kid like her. It's like she's really sensitive. She doesn't know a lot of social norms. And so everybody just picks on her. Like, I love how she creates her project about like a famous person is her dad. It's like the sweetest thing ever.
Yep.
Because like you can just see like in her mind, she's like, why would I talk about like some random person I don't know? That doesn't make sense. She's like, well, I'll just talk about my dad because he's the coolest person. And so like, here's all the things I can say about him. And so, like, she kind of, like, pours her heart into this thing that she believes wholeheartedly. That's everything. And that was just so like endearing. And I like how you get to see her really start to transform and become she it's like the fate it's not like it's like that innocence isn't really being lost, but she's gaining the adult mature perspective on top of everything
Okay.
with like how she because like how she decides like okay, well I'm done with the training, I'm gonna go and rescue my friends. That's what I want to do, another Star Wars thing. But it was like it fit here, right? Because it's everyone's trying to control her and poke and prod or just make fun of. And, then she takes a stand and is like, well, no, I'm going to do this. And then she figures out, okay, well, maybe if I can get into his mind, I can get him then. And so she still needs her support system.
Mhm.
So she's not, impervious to any of that. Like she needs to know that Mike is like that stable force in her life, and then she can focus better. But yeah, it was just really cool. But also, it's like a lot of Wolverine parallels. I'm a huge Wolverine fan, so I think
Who's
it's
not?
like, oh, my memories came back and they're terrible and they're torturing me, and now I have to live with them. I just love that stuff.
That's fair.
I could go on and on, like the whole ice ring or the skater scene where she like smashes somebody's
yes.
face in. And then it's like the consequences are so much worse because like she doesn't know how to just like scale back.
Mhm.
It's just like
Well, she's always had to react violently.
right.
So scaling it back to just this stupid social interaction of some random bully,
Yeah.
she's just gonna react the same way, and she doesn't
Mhm.
have her powers, so we're just gonna beat her face in with a skate. What else would you do?
Yeah, I can still fight. And it's like, wait a minute. Poor thing.
Escalation.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna throw it back to you. Who's your favorite character?
After much deliberation, because I was thinking about the question when I asked you, and I was like, I don't even know who mine would, but I would probably have to say Hopper.
That's a
Would
good choice.
probably be mine, because I don't know, he has so much of a dynamic character from the start, and even with being dynamic, they were so able to build it through all 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love this one where they put him in Russia and they isolate him, and he's having these conversations with his Russian counterpart. Oh boy, he was right outside. That was I don't know if you could hear that on there, but that coyote is just sitting out there. Um, but yeah, the conversations he has about adopting Elle and what he went through with Sarah, and then how he's like thinking that he's cursed and how this is
Yeah.
part of the curse, and how he hopes that they're not coming to him, but if they do come to him, then that's a part of the curse. So like this curse
Mm-hmm.
narrative that has followed through
Yeah.
and how it's kind of settled in. I don't know. I just really liked the dynamics of his character and how he feels like he defeats the curse kind of at the end
Oh yeah.
because he stands. And I think that's what they were doing with him taking the sword and taking the Conan thing and fighting that
Yeah.
the Demogorgon. I forgot his name for a second. Yeah, I don't know. It was just
Yeah. That part is cool. Like they finally just standing up to these things.
he does,
He does. Yeah.
and that was the important thing was that he stood up to it,
Yeah.
and that was the thing that Elle took and what drew him to Elle in the first place. Because she
Yeah.
disintegrates and goes to the other side, and then comes back, and that's when he adopts her. So now he's going up and taking that fatherly role, and it's like, I'm gonna take care of this thing now.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know, that was probably not too
Mm.
much of the inspiration, but that was in there. So
Yeah, that's a good choice. I do love a character who's cursed.
yeah, they did a great job with him and his curse and what he believes to be his curse, at least.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
But then, yeah, explaining like all that stuff too, like how he's probably infected, and that probably was what lent to his daughter's cancer and all that kind of stuff, and like how
Mhm.
that builds on itself. Yeah, I don't know, probably Hopper.
I did like the like how, his past problems are the reason that he uses to blame for what happened to Sarah.
Yep,
Yeah. As like this thing you just cannot get
his
away
fault.
from. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that parallels with Elle as well, because she's the one that opens the gate. She sends Vecna through, but she freed Vecna, and Vecna killed all of her friends, and he's doing the same thing now. So
Mhm.
she probably blames herself on some level, similar to Hopper's as well.
Mhm.
So they have a bit of a parallel. I don't know. There's a lot that can be kind of read out of it. I'm not sure how much of that is actually something that they were thinking of when they wrote the show, but
Yeah. I mean the whole thing too with Elle of like am I the monster or
right.
not? Another Wolverine type
Am I
of
the
thing.
monster or the superhero?
Yeah,
Mike's
exactly.
constantly there, like, no, you're the superhero. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
You're just a little scary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my last question. You have any further?
Um. Yeah. What inspiration did you think was most interesting to you in this season?
In this, like what inspiration that lent into some of the themes of the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like what
Um,
reference point they had.
Probably the slasher one. Like as basic as
Adds
that.
added so much. I was just
It
gonna say
did.
the same thing.
Yeah. Just especially because they don't fully give you the whole story right off the bat. They just show how
Mm-hmm.
terrifying he is and what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
When they kill Chrissy, obviously, like it's just like we're going full bore. You're gonna see exactly what this does
Right.
and how mortifying it is. But yeah, I mean, it was just like we're gonna really because we did the body snatchers thing last time and the thing esque body piles that go up into this big
Yeah.
monster thing.
Mm-hmm.
But this one gives a lot more of a personality to it, I guess. And so you get
Yeah.
to see and hear him talk, and you don't really know his motivations right off the bat, but you know what he's capable of doing. And it's somewhat interesting, but it's also terrifying because you don't know exactly how to fight it. So, and then there's solutions with it too, like
Mm-hmm.
the music and all that kind of stuff is cool. So yeah, probably the slasher inspirations, the like Freddy Krueger esque
Yeah.
thing that they had going on.
Uh-huh.
So your answer's similar.
Yeah, I feel like that just added a whole dimension to it that was really
And
yeah, well, it's kind of like I feel like it's slotted into a very important niche
mm,
for Stranger Things cuz some of the reference points like, they pull on Back to the Future in Stranger Things 3. But that didn't really like I don't want to say that didn't add anything, but it's just kind of like a nice moment. Not that it really pertains too much because Back to the Future is like it's a time travel comedy. That's not really like there's no time travel. There's comedy, but like, you know
not
what I
not
mean?
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing about the substance of that really works for Stranger Things that you can actually pull on. But the slasher stuff, it's like, well, that has some material for you
Yeah.
because it involves teenagers, it involves horror, and you're up the wazoo with both of those.
Yeah.
So there's a real justification to start pulling on those sources of inspiration and then harness it for something that can actually be a plot line. So it's very well chosen to use that.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And it just added like it was one of those where it veered, but not so far off. It just kind of followed the line that it was already going, but in a really
Yeah.
good way. So it was building really effectively with what it already had to work with.
Yeah, it starts coming into its own as a proper horror. Not that it wasn't horror before, but it's very like it's Stranger Things is not the kind of horror where like, everyone dies except for the last person
Yeah.
standing or whatever.
It's not going to end
you
where
know,
Vecna kind of comes back out of the grave or something and then they never make another season. Like
yeah,
it's
no.
actually more well developed than that.
Yeah, it has too many other important inspirations that pull it in different directions. But it does provide like lots of avenues for other things too, even ones that aren't slasher related. So like the whole, like Silence of the Lambs moment where they got to go visit
Yes.
someone in an insane asylum. That was a very like that was something that made more contextual sense because of the killings going on that you only really get if you start harnessing that like slasher energy of like, nope, people are getting wiped out. So now it's like pressure's on. We got to really interrogate this guy because they make a pretty ballsy move. They're like, we just have to go and talk to this guy by any means necessary,
Right.
and we have to do it now. And so they just like make up whatever story they have to, and then hightail it out of there because it just has to be done. And so I like that element a lot too. And like it's harder to see that being done in the same way if they didn't have that pressure that's put on them from the very beginning, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with all
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, did you have any further
No,
questions?
go for it.
Well, I was gonna say, do we have any further thoughts that we want to get out? Because I don't want to go too far. Like, season 4 is just so worth watching. I don't want to ruin all of it. I did like talking about it, and I think it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting. We typically have pretty long conversations about stuff that artistic pieces that we consume.
Yeah.
This one we have not talked about at all, and I've been trying to get him to watch it for
I
since
know.
it came out. So however long that's been, a couple years. Um, so now that
Just start a YouTube show. That's what you have to do.
that's what I got to do. Get you to watch the stuff that you won't watch. Okay, so now that we're done,
Yeah.
We've watched all the way up until November or whatever, whenever season 5 comes out.
Yeah.
And we will be doing a season 5 video for sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Is there anything else that you want to cover? We are going to have a Saturday episode. We'll go over that in a second. But is there anything else you want to cover about season 4 before we move on?
Yeah, we should probably talk about Steve a little bit.
Okay.
Because I feel like
Redemption arc.
Yeah, I don't know if I have too much else to say beyond that, but just that, like, he's just clearly developing into a man of a lot of integrity.
Yeah.
And it was always there, but, like, he's pushed in, like, comedic scenarios or, he's babysitting or whatever, and people are picking on him or whatever.
I like how he plays on that in this season where he's like, I've always dreamed about having a family. And he's like, it's not like I don't have a lot of practice.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Because he's constantly watching the kids. Always the babysitter. Cracked me up.
He's mad about it, but it's because it's not quite the vision he has in his head is what we're really discovering now.
Right.
It's nothing against them. He's just like, oh, it would just be cool to have my own family, and like a bunch of kids and everything. Yeah. And I think it kind of, here, I'll throw it to you real quick before I kind of take it, because it's somewhat related to Steve, but kind of a larger question too. So did you have anything else you wanted to add about Steve?
Not necessarily. I did think that he got his just due here.
Yeah.
It was really great to see because we thought that they really underutilized him and they finally brought him back into what he could be. So it was nice to see him taking on like a leadership role, I suppose, and really taking on the what I thought he should have been all along. They really gave it to him. And it was like, came at the expense of some of the other characters, but I was like, I don't really care. Whatever. He gets his redemption arc, so I'll take it. That's fine. Yeah, I didn't really have much to add to there.
Yeah.
So well done on
Gotcha.
Steve. Was a fan.
Yeah, the one thing that I feel like he was doing more so than some of the other characters is that I do wonder if maybe, because there's a lot of things that happen in this season established like there's no going back, right? And now it's in the face of the world. Everyone can see it, the upside down and everything. So now it kind of seems most pertinent for the existential crisis to set in. And it was something that I just observed when I finished the season. I was like, it's interesting that none of the characters are really like grappling with that very much.
Yet.
Yeah. Maybe it's coming.
I imagine it is. Yeah, because it did seem like they, I don't know, almost just ignored it after it happened in the show. Like at the end when they're all just kind of coming together to help repair things as best they could.
Yeah.
But I also think that it just comes to a point where you're so exhausted from dealing all the problems that you already dealt with that you're just trying to jump in there and do whatever you can because there's only so much you can do in that scenario. So, yeah, and it left on a low note. I mean, this is the arc of a great story, right? Like you have Infinity War.
Well, it's Empire Strikes
Back. Like those are the ones that end on the low note, and that coming is going to be a difficult battle, but it'll be one that ends on, well, maybe a high note. We'll see. It might kill some characters.
Yeah, I feel like Max is
going to live.
She will live, but I think she's going to be harnessed by Vecta. But we're getting into what we think is going to happen. We got to stay.
That'll be Saturday's episode. Well, anything else on season 4?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I want to. I just want to keep talking about it. It's such a great season. I was just so invested.
There's some stuff that I wanted to talk about with Will, but I think I'll leave that for the Saturday episode.
Okay.
We'll just jump in there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So Saturday's episode is what we think is going to come in season 5. Stay tuned.
And go watch season 4. Don't knock it. Go watch the whole thing.
I think everyone else has except for you. So welcome to the club.
Thanks.
Welcome to Hellfire.
Sorry I'm late.
So you made it to the end of the video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what you thought.